Welcome to Jude, the podcast. I am David Jude. I'm your host for the show. Welcome back to this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening and all the shares and downloads that you've provided for us. We really appreciate it. I am excited for this episode because I want to share my story, a little bit more of my story with everyone. Let me start with this. For the last several years, I have struggled with weight gain, energy, overall good feeling. And despite whatever workout program I would go on or diet program I would go on, I could see a few results, but could never really figure out why it wasn't working. And you'll hear in this episode, I gained an average of 1 pound a month for about 7 years. Yeah, do the math. That's accurate. Until one day I'd had enough, and I called Ageless Center here in Lexington, Kentucky. And I said, I need some help, and I'm coming to learn about your weight loss program. And when I got there, I learned more than that. I learned about hormone replacement therapy. It's testosterone pellets, and why that's important to me and what it would do to help me. And so anyway, I took the leap, and the results are simply life-changing. From energy to focus to overall good feeling. I could talk about the sex drive difference on a whole different episode. It has been an amazing change for me. And so I wanted to spend some time telling the story and also let you hear it from the experts themselves or herself. So on this episode, we have Miss Marinda Beasley from Ageless Center, and she is who does the work on me. I just can't tell you the difference it is. Listen in as we talk about hormone replacement therapy, HRT, and we talk about all the other great services they provide at Ageless Center. And I'm telling you this, if you're interested in their products, they are a wonderful staff of people. You can't ask for any better service than you would get with them. I can't recommend them highly enough. And here's the best part. Call Ageless Center. We'll have the links in the show notes. Call them, make your appointment with Marinda, and tell them when you make that call at Ageless Center that you heard about HRT or testosterone pellets or hormone replacement therapy, but tell them that you heard about this on our podcast. And they are going to give you your first set of hormone lab work for free. Let me tell you, that's a significant value. That means you can go get checked out. You can figure out if this is right for you for no cost. Now, the testosterone pellets, the HRT, will cost, of course, but just to have the conversation, the consultation with them is not going to cost you anything but some time. You can't go wrong with that. Give them a call. Check them out. Email us at guests@judethepodcast.com. I'd love to tell you more about my story if you need to, but I'll just tell you this. Save the email, call them, they'll get you set up. While you're here, check out our show sponsors. They've been great for us. Appreciate all your support with them and of the show. That's enough of an intro, right? Let's get to it. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the show, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Me too.
I'm glad you agreed to come on. It should be a good time.
I think so.
Yeah. Did you have a good day? Anything good happen at work?
Just a busy day.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. It's every Monday.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It's about the same here. I guess we had a pretty good Monday, all things considered. Not every day's that good, but today was a pretty good day, I think.
I saw a lot of my favorite people, so it makes the day better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Anything good over the weekend? Did you do anything good?
Yes. So I had my kids this weekend. We went to the aquarium.
Yeah.
We went to Gaddytown. We rearranged and reorganized our playroom.
Yes.
It was a busy weekend.
Those are big weekends.
It was a big weekend.
I haven't been to the aquarium in a long time. We keep saying we're going to go, but it's been a while since we've been up there.
We really enjoyed it. My 7-year-old had to stop at every single fish tank.
Of course.
Even if it was the same fish, we stopped at every one of them.
Yeah. Do they still have was it at the end? They still have the thing where you can pet the stingrays? Or,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you get to do that?
We did. And you could pet an anemone.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to go. We now have grandkids or a grandkid about to have a second one. So it's about time for us to make a trip to the aquarium, I think, and
Yeah.
see all the critters.
They're going to have to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Well, let's get into, do we want to start with Ageless as a whole and the services? Do we want to jump into specific? Let's start with Ageless.
Okay.
And now I'll tell my story here in a little bit.
Sure.
But I guess we have been, what do you call it, patients?
Mm-hmm. Patients or clients?
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been clients, patients because you asked me this the other day when I saw you. I think we were finishing up year 2 of hormone replacement therapy. We'll get into that here in a second. So I think we've been coming to Ageless for 2 years now. I don't think it's been 3.
Okay.
Somewhere around. So 2. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so you weren't there when we first got there, but we've known each other for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
I've been there for a year now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been a lot of good for us. There's been a lot of cool stuff that's happened in our life because of coming to Ageless. But let's start with, tell us what Ageless does.
So Ageless, there's so many aspects to it, and I like to think of it as we help as a whole, because we have our weight loss side and we help people through their weight loss journey a couple different ways. And then we have our med spa side. So that makes everybody feel better.
Yeah.
Because we do our Botox and our Xeomin and Dysport, and we have fillers and Morpheus, a big side of the med spa. And then we also do our hormone replacement therapy, which is also basically just me on that side. Because I have a team for weight loss, I have a team for med spa, but then hormones is a lot of what I do.
And what is your role there?
I'm the nurse practitioner there.
Okay. And so as the nurse practitioner, I guess it's your licensure, right, mm-hmm. for those type of things.
Yeah.
So you're the license holder for the practice, I guess.
I am. Now there's a medical director above me, but then I'm the nurse practitioner, and kind of everyone comes to me in that office.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, let's jump into, I guess, one of the main thing we want to talk about, but we can come back to the med spa and some other stuff there. But the main thing I think I wanted to cover, and we'll cover whatever you want to, but is the hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
And what a life-changing piece for us that this is. Well, I tell you what, let me back up for a second and ask, why do you think that there's so many, and you're going to forgive me for my terminology and my ignorance and some of this stuff, but why is it that do you think that so many of the boutique health and wellness places now exist? That may not be the right way to say it, but that's why I kind of lump everybody Ageless into a boutique place.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like a concierge medicine or wellness spa.
Yeah.
They're getting really popular because people want to feel better. They want to feel better about themselves. And so they find places like this that they can get that confidence back or just feel better in general.
Yeah. Well, so that's true for us too, right? And I'll give you credit probably multiple times as we go through the show of how our experience with Ageless has really been the catalyst for us to think about, and I don't know a better term to say it, I always say alternative solutions, even though this is not an alternative medicine. It's just something different for us. And so our experience through this has completely opened up our mind to what else is out there and what else exists. And maybe it's just us. I don't think it is, but forever and ever. And my wife's, in the medical field, so she's been an RN forever. And it just seems like we've been so hardwired into the traditional ways of, you have an issue, you go to the doctor gives you some type of answer, right, through a prescription or whatever else, and that's just the way it works. And it sure doesn't seem like that anymore. Mm-hmm. You agree with that?
I do. I like to, I do replace hormones, but I like to tell people I'm optimizing them. We're optimizing to make you feel better, because you go to a lot of doctors' offices and they'll be like, oh, that's normal range, you're fine. But when you optimize them to get your best benefit, that's when you feel better. And I think a lot of people come to wellness spas because they do that.
Yeah. 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 And so that's been true for us too. And I tell you what else and I don't know if you can comment on this or not, but I'm sidebarring, and this is awful early to get off on a tangent, but here we go. The whole medical billing thing just infuriates me, right? I just, what a silly, complicated, stupid system of billing. And so for us, we get, you get these statement of benefits and you get these things like, and it says, this is not a bill. And it seems like the next thing we get in the mail is, hey, dumbass, you didn't pay your bill. Here's a collection notice. Like, never got the first bill. What I like about what I'm calling these boutique places is it's maybe not always, but for us, it's been a cash type of thing. You come for a service, you pay the money, and you get the service, and you go. Mm-hmm. You like it or you don't like it. And that's why I was asking about, there seems to be so many of these things popping up now. I think there's a greater demand for that type of service. Would you think that's true? I
do see a greater demand for like the med spa type services. There's a lot of them. I don't think you can go to any town, small, big, medium, and not find at least one of them. Mm-hmm. But I do enjoy having the self-pay part, because being in the medical field, I never had to deal with billing. It's so easy to be like, I don't know about the insurance. It's the self-pay.
And we've had another guest or two that is in that the self-pay world, to say, because it changes how she was able to deal with her patients and clients, instead of and again, I'm kind of making this up, but instead of having 5 minutes or 15 minutes that you're allotted by insurance to spend with the patient, she says, I can spend all the time I want. Mm-hmm. So if I want to spend an hour learning about you as the patient, then I get to spend an hour with you just because I can. Yeah.
When I started at Ageless, the hormone appointments were only 15 minutes. And I was like, this isn't going to work. I was like, there's no way. I was like, we talk so much. There's so many things to talk about. And I don't have to worry about the billing of it. I can extend the appointment, and here we are.
We are so glad to have Ugly Tint as a sponsor to the show. My longtime friend Kenny Dietrich is a subject matter expert in modern survival, bushcrafting, and preparedness. As he challenges on the show, be prepared for the disaster most likely to happen to you. But let me tell you, Ugly Tint is so much more than just disaster preparedness. You need to check out the website at uglytent.com. That's UGLYTENT.com for a complete list of their products, their classes, and all the services that Kenny offers. There's a lot that I think you'll find interesting at uglytent.com. Again, just a neat place to go. So whether it's for camping, maybe it's a hike, maybe it's just trying to be in the outdoors for a little bit, uglytent.com is filled with the products and the services that you want. Not to mention, you have a true expert as a resource for you. Listen, while you're there, use the promo code JUDE, that's lowercase JUDE, and that code will get you 10% off your total purchase. That's a pretty good deal for some really cool stuff. Anyway, check out Kenny at uglytent.com. Yeah, so from a patient-client perspective, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's really the thing that probably keeps me coming back. Not just the feeling that I get, but I like that experience. And it really makes you feel, now when you go back to a traditional doctor, you can really sense the difference, because you feel like a commodity moving through some of these doctors' offices, where when you come to see you, it's not. You feel this connection to the care that happens.
And I really tried to make that important. We joke all the time in the med spa that we're going to call it Toxin Talk, because I have these appointments and I come out and they're like, how did you get all that information? I'm like, I just ask questions. I like to know things. I like to know about my patients, even if it's not related to what I'm doing, because it makes you feel important.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like doing that for my patients, because you don't get that in a doctor's office or in a normal kind of medical setting. And I enjoy it. I love learning about people in another life. I think I would have been a therapist.
Yeah. I think that was the root of my original question, right? Why are so many of these, again, boutique shops popping up? Because that seems to be the formula for it, is that you get to know people and you have a personal relationship and a personal experience. And I don't think in today's world, people really want to be moved through the cattle chutes of medical field. They want that personal experience and that ability to call each other by name and to talk about stuff and, have that relationship.
Absolutely. I had a patient today and she's at the end of her weight loss journey and she was like, well, how am I going to see you now? And I was like, I guess we're just going to make appointments just to weigh in.
Eat lots of pizza and come back. No, don't do that.
I'm here every day. You can come see me anytime.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And so, that's one of the thing that really keeps us coming back. It's the ability to connect and be personal. And there's no way to feel other than that's what helps with the treatment plans. I
think so. I mean, I think knowing these details about people's lives helps. It helps me because I know when you're stressed. I know when something's off. So when you come in and you say, I don't feel as well this time. Something's going on. Well, tell me about what else is going on. And it makes it easier because I know your history. I know what's going on. And I just really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me jump into how we got to Ageless. And it may be a little bit lengthy, so interrupt me if you need to, but here we go.
Sure.
Let me get a drink. So it may take a while.
You've been there longer than me.
That's true. So over time, I averaged gaining about 1 pound a month for about 7 years. And sure enough, that math is right. So about 80 pounds that I'd put on over time. And despite whatever I would do, and so I could do the diet, and I'm pretty good at the ability to count calories and know what my body is doing. And I know how much I can burn off, and the METS scale or whatever that is for burning calories for your workouts. And I could even get to a place where I could accurately predict, Thursday, I should lose 1 pound on the scale through calorie reduction and workouts, et cetera, and how much I'm taking in, how much I'm burning off, and that whole thing. And I actually got pretty accurate with that. And even doing that, I would find these peaks and valleys of weight gain, weight loss. and true, there's some lifestyle changes that evidently I refuse to make, but to the point of, we were on vacation a couple years ago. We were in Gettysburg, actually, when we actually pulled over to call Ageless. And I had gained so much weight, and I could lose 10, 15, I could lose 10 or 12 pounds, and I'd plateau. And that's working out hard, and that's basically cutting the calories, which is not healthy. That's not the right way to do it. But that's what it would get to. And then I would stop. And of course, it all comes right back. And so Stacy and I were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm really kind of stuck. And again, pulling out of the Airbnb in Gettysburg, she goes, well, Ageless used to be Ageless Weight Loss, I think. Ageless always has those commercials on. Why don't you call them? Okay. And we was like, let's just do it right now. So we pulled over and made the phone call and made the appointment to come in. Now, I'll stop there for a second, but let me back up to the traditional medicine. So I had been going to a couple different doctors along the way saying something isn't right. So I've got these feelings and this is what I'm experiencing. There's something not happening appropriately with my body. And it took forever just to get somebody just to test the testosterone levels. And it was like, it was like this taboo thing. Like, you want your testosterone tested? Yes. Yes. I want to know the whole thing. Whatever you can test, I want you to test it. And like you said a minute ago, the results always came back at the very lowest end, but in the acceptable range. And there's the conversation stopped. And every now and then, or maybe once, I think somebody did the cream or something like that. And I was like, well, this isn't going to work and this isn't going to be effective for me. And I tried it for a little bit and, there's no follow-up tests. There's nothing else to go with it. And so anyway, I knew something was wrong with it, and I don't know medical stuff at all. So it's hard for me to make that connection of what's off, but I just knew it. And I felt like with the regular doctors, I could never get anybody to really
just listen
and hear, because they always come back to, well, it's diet and you need to make these changes. Yeah, I get it. And I can do that for a little bit, but I can't sustain it and it's not working. So anyway, I ballooned up to a whole lot of weight, super unhealthy and not good at all, which gets us to calling Ageless. And Julie was who I spoke to. Wonderful, right? She said, yeah, come in, let's talk. And so I came there for the weight loss program. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let's talk about this. And she's like, I don't know that you need that. I mean, if you're walking 3 to 5 miles a day and you're doing these workouts, you're doing what, your diet, obviously, but you're doing it. And she actually gave me the menu. You had a chart type of thing for your clients. And she goes, I'll share that with you. You'll be fine. You don't need that from us. I was like, no, I don't think I do, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so that's where she said, we need to test your hormones and we need to do this test. Great. And so we did, right? And so at that point, because not knowing what we're getting into at this point, I thought, man, this is some type of like snake oil elixir type of stuff. And it's like, okay. So of course the blood test results come back and I don't remember what it was, but sure enough, the testosterone's at the lowest level. And then, like you said, correcting the levels or however you put it. Optimizing. Yeah. Julie came back. It's like, yeah, we can do this. And so at first we're thinking, this is just sales tactics.
They're just pulling me in.
They're just suckering me in here and it's working.
You did it.
I did it. Oh my gosh. And so, Stacy kind of left it to me. She goes, it's up to you. If you want to try it, I don't know if it's real or if it's not real, but if you want to try it.
I'll interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Because this happens a lot because people are like, this is just sales. But you get to a point where you feel so bad that you're like, gosh, I'll try anything. Let me try the sale.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You just feel so bad that you'll try anything to fix it.
And that's kind of where I was at, is to say, I'm well over 300 pounds at this point, and I can't do that. I can't live that way. And I've got to make some change. So I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to pay and give it a shot. And she's like, okay, well, give it a shot. And so off we go and we get our pellets, and we'll get into what the pellets look like. But, I guess it takes about a week to kick in, let's say, somewhere around there.
7 to 10 days.
Yeah. And so within a couple weeks, well, let me back up. So my symptoms were, at the time that I did this, what was happening with me is come mid-afternoon. So 2:30, 3 o'clock, I was done. And I mean, done. So sit on the couch. I'm not going to go check the mail. I mean, it is too much effort to do whatever. So I felt that bad that I just couldn't function. Not to mention no sex drive, none of those things that were coming in. And so obviously something had to happen. So, a week or so later, whatever it was, a couple weeks later, Stacy's asking like, well, how do you feel? And I was like, I can't tell you there's a tangible feeling, but suddenly there's energy to do whatever you want to do for the day. There's no more 2:30 sitting on the couch. I mean, we can just do our thing. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah, it's not a feeling. You don't get this feeling. You just look back and realize, holy crap, this has been me for the last wherever. And now here I am. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I think you need to look at this too. And so she did, of course, and here we are with it. So for us, it has been life-changing, which is why I think it's so important to talk about, because we get a bunch of Facebook messages and calls about like, what are you doing? It's like, you need to see our friends at Ageless, because it is life-changing.
It is.
Yeah.
And I hear that so much. And a lot of people think of hormones and they think, it's just sex. Like, no, I'm fine. I have sex. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize how fatigued you are, or how tired you just get from the lack of hormones. There's so many other symptoms than a low libido. I see chronic fatigue. And honestly, when people come in for weight loss, I hear it almost every week. I have this tube around my stomach. I can't get rid of this abdominal weight no matter what I do. And I'm like, that's hormones. It's hormones every day. If you're doing the things to lose weight and you're holding it right in your abdomen, that's your hormones. It's this horrible fatigue. And I'll tell you, I just experienced it myself, and I'm only 31, but a couple weeks ago, it's been going on for 2 months. I was same time, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. I was like, I can't function. I was like, yeah. I cannot live like this. Like, I'm making goals at the end of the day. Like, do I want to take a shower or do I want to wash my face? Like, I can't do them both.
Or neither.
Like, I can't.
Tomorrow.
And it really is a feeling of, I feel like I can't function.
Yeah.
And I did my own hormones at work because I knew I wasn't going to get them done I could go to my doctor, but I'm 31. They're not going to check my hormones.
Right.
I had no detectable estrogen. None.
Wow.
And I was like, I knew it. I do this every day. And I knew that this is what was wrong. And I got that replaced. And within a week, I was like, I'm back. I am back. But, there's more symptoms than that. You've got the decreased energy. You've got the weight gain. You can't get weight off. You've got the brain fog. Brain fog is a huge one. It's just a complete lack of mental clarity. Like, you just can't, like COVID brain was, like, you can't waddle through the fog of the day. What else? There's mood swings, there's anxiety, there's depression. You've got joint pain. You can't get your muscle, like for males, like they're like, I work out and I'm not gaining any of my muscles. There's just so many symptoms, and I think people just think sex. They're just like, no, it can't be my hormones. My sex drive is fine. And that's not even when I get people in for hormones. They're just like, I'm so tired. I can't function. I am so tired. And that's when I see them the most.
And that's where ours started, right? Mm-hmm. That brain fog. I forgot about that. But yeah, that's part of it. You're thinking, I can't stay focused,
mm-hmm.
And so then you start this path. What's wrong with me? What has happened to me? Yeah. And so Stacy had some joint pain. Mm-hmm. Some of the anxiety stuff, I guess, was happening. The low libido also. So she had a lot of the same symptoms too. The brain fog, all those things were there. So when you do the blood test, let's start at the beginning of this process.
Sure.
What are you looking for? I don't need your secret sauce, but I'm just saying, what are you looking for?
I draw just about everything. I look at blood counts. I look at a metabolic panel. I look at your estradiol level, and that's for men and women. I look for testosterone for men and women, because a lot of people don't think women have testosterone, but we do, and we start losing it in our 20s. And males, they start losing their testosterone in their 30s. So that's a big one. For males, I look at the free testosterone, your PSA. For women, I look at an FSH. It's a level that kind of guides me where you're at. Are you perimenopause? Are you postmenopause? I'm trying to think. I look at vitamin levels, vitamin D, B12. I'm looking at your thyroid level, because a lot of people forget about thyroid. And thyroid's what releases your hormones to the body. So we kind of manage that thyroid level too. And just all the factors. I can call someone and be like, your hormones are real low, but so are your vitamins. I bet you are tired. Let's look at all the things we can make feel better.
Yeah. And so you just look at that whole picture, I guess, and say
mm-hmm.
you're a good candidate or not. I mean, is there a certain score or something that somebody has to hit?
I look for levels. Now, I optimize them. So for males, it's easy. If you're low, you're low. I'm like, you're low.
Yeah.
We need to replace these. For women, it really sucks for us, because we have this normal range we live in, but we don't get symptom relief in that normal range. So I tell them, like, yes, if you go to your doctor, your testosterone of 11 is normal, but I'm going to optimize it to a number I want, to where you have symptom relief, but it's still safe for you as a person.
Yeah. Well, we were always curious, which is that elixir sales pitch, right? Like, oh, they're just making it fit. And, of course, Stacy being in the medical field, she's trying to read all of those things, but she has her own viewpoint of those things. So when we got our blood test, she's looking at values as well, just looking at overall health, but we never were sure how that translates into you're a good candidate for HRT.
I listen to your symptoms. Those are going to be the number one. And then I really take those values into account, because I hear a lot of times people go and they're like, well, they listened to my symptoms and they gave me an estrogen patch. And I'm like, did they even check your levels? And they're like, no, not really. I'm like, well, let's look at them. Let's look to see where we're even at before we start. And I try to evaluate that whole picture, and getting the symptom relief is what I really want. And that's why we optimize those.
Which is really important, right? Because it feels like, and I'm going to go back and pick on traditional medicine, traditional doctor's visit. When you talked about getting that patch, that feels like you're back to being that commodity, right? And I'll mess this up, treating the symptom and not the whole thing, or whatever that saying is. And we had some of that along the ways, with the cream, or, well, what are you looking for? Are you looking for, this? And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking for. I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm here. But that was not our experience with you guys. And that was great. That was wonderful.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And I have a lot of people come to me from already getting replacement on those creams or injections or patches, whatever modality they're using. And the good thing about the pellets is, with the creams and the injections, you get that like better feeling, but you drop so fast and you have to redo it every week. Twice a week. I know there's males out there who get testosterone injections twice a week. And with the pellets, you get that constant relief of symptoms for so much longer. You come in every 3 to 4 months or 4 to 5 months, and you have that good feeling for that long before you get that drop again and need them replaced.
You kind of answered my next question, but so let's back up really quick. We've been talking about the initials HRT. Let's define what that is really quick. Go ahead.
So HRT is just hormone replacement therapy.
Okay.
And there's different modalities of it.
Okay. And so for Ageless, and what we're talking about here is a testosterone pellet. Okay. And the benefit, well, so with the creams and the injections, which are other opportunities out there, it just seems that those burn off so fast, or they just don't last. I don't know how to say that.
They don't. I mean, the injections, you feel better, but you just have to do them so often. The creams aren't my favorite because those are transferable. I usually don't recommend those to anyone with children or like elderly people in the home. You just never know. If you don't let that dry all the way, you can pass that on to someone else who may not need that replacement.
Right.
So that one's not my favorite. But for us, we just use the pellet therapy because you get that consistent good feeling, consistent replacement, optimization, whatever you want to call it. You get it for months at a time. And I think that that's what makes pellets so much better. You get them, you don't worry about it until you come back and see me again.
Yeah. Yeah. We pretty well mark it on our calendar. Like, we got to go see Marinda again. How quick can I get in there? And we do experience a drop off at a certain point. So I don't want to leave it as, it's one time and done. I mean, there's a piece to it where you have to come back and get the next set of it. Since we're talking about the pellets, let's talk about what the pellet actually is. Okay.
It is a bioidentical hormone. So instead of doing like a synthetic oral or cream or patch, it's bioidentical. So it matches the molecules that we already have so that your body doesn't reject it. Your body just recognizes it as your own hormones. I think that makes it really good for them.
Yeah.
I got lost.
No worries. I will too as we go through it. So it's not synthetic. What the product that you're using with me, it's not synthetic. It's not a synthetic testosterone.
No, it's bioidentical.
So tell me what that means.
It is an exact molecular match to your body. So your body can't tell the difference in it. So with a synthetic one, your body might be able to tell the difference. It may not accept it as good. But your body recognizes this bioidentical hormone as a hormone you already make.
Okay. And now, are these pellets crafted for each patient?
No. Everybody they all look the same. They just come in a certain dosage. And based off your labs, I give you a dose. And so then it's kind of like you would medicine. Oh, we're going to do 10 milligrams and 15 milligrams to get however much we need.
Yeah.
So they just come in a dosage.
So that's funny for us because I forgot what my numbers were when I first got there for the first treatment. I'm going to say somewhere in the hundreds, like 100s, not 200, but in the 100 range. And so whoever did them the first time was like, yeah, we're going to try to get you to 1100 or something like that. I'm pretty close on the numbers. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds interesting. I have no idea what you're saying. And I don't know what that means. And I have, it's been so long since I have been without these symptoms that I have no baseline to compare that to. So I'm all for it. I don't know what that means, nor do I have any expectations. I just, okay. And then I was like, so how long is it going to take to ramp up? Take a couple months to, ramp up till we get to the second session? And it's like, no, this week. I'm like, holy shit, you're going to take me from like 100 to 1100 this week? Like, yep. I'm like, okay.
Give me 1 week, you're going to feel better.
Yeah. Whatever it was, right? But it was a really quick turnaround, which, we laughed at home like, oh my God, we're going to have testosterone Dave running around here. Like,
I've seen testosterone Dave.
yeah, unfortunately, you got a little dose of it. Yeah, you're right. Like, all right, we'll have to figure that out. And so along that lines, of course, Stacy's looking at me like, is it working? She's looking at me like, what's happening with you? And suddenly she started thinking like, you have a cold? Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. I mean, I feel great. This is awesome. I got this energy, whatever. She's like, well, you sound like you're sick. And I was like, what? My voice started dropping. So then we had puberty Dave.
Oh gosh.
So suddenly my voice got deeper. I started growing hair. And she's like, oh my God, what is happening with you? Like, you're going through puberty. I was like, I think I am. This is kind of fun.
If you were in the 100s, that's really low.
Yeah.
You were probably feeling real bad.
Yeah, I was whatever it was. I was pretty low. Mm-hmm. And I got up there pretty quick. So, I've never been a singer, right? I can maybe do some backing vocals at best, on a good day.
You're going to try it now with your low voice?
No. I'm almost like tone deaf now. So after this, I try to do some backing vocals or sing from time to time. Like, oh my God, man, just clap. You need to be the guy that claps from here on out, not the singing guy. Just clap.
I'm not a singer. I am not. But everybody in the office, we went to karaoke for my birthday, and they're like, "You got to get up there," and I'm like, "No, I am no singer."
Yeah, and just pay for everybody else to go sing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You get a series of pellets, and at Ageless, you guys install them. I guess it'd be install, insert, inject.
It's a procedure. We inject them
into the butt.
Into the butt.
Yeah,
Butt Tuesdays.
Yeah, Butt Tuesday. How many butts you think you've seen?
Oh, total in my whole health career?
Yeah.
Oh, God, a million.
Not the date book. Yeah.
The playbook.
Yeah, the playbook. Yeah.
I joke with everyone. All my patients know Tuesday is butt day.
Why inject them there? Why?
So they can go in the butt. It's in a fat pocket on literally your buttock, or they can go in the abdomen. Now, I always use the buttock because I think it's easier to heal. You don't see it because I do make a little incision. You get a little scar.
Oh,
you don't see it.
We're going to talk about that incision.
Because you know my trick to the incision.
Yes, I do.
So it goes just in a little pocket above the muscle because you don't want it in the muscle. It goes just kind of under the skin. And the way it works is your blood circulates over it. And as your blood's circulating, it's circulating that pellet around.
So you're thinking about hiring a private investigator, huh? Think knowledge, experience, and trust. Think DPJ Consulting. Listen, we're the folks you want on your team. Whether it's a criminal matter, corporate, or administrative issue, or maybe something more personal, you need to make the right choice for you. Our house of expertise at DPJ Consulting can help you with investigations, and that can mean a whole lot of different things. Pre-employment background checks, personal VIP security, and so much more. Check us out at dpjconsulting.com. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, or give us a call at 855-TEAM-DPJ. That's 855-TEAM-DPJ. Give us a call. It costs nothing to talk. It costs you everything if we don't. So we have a friend that does it, and she gets them in the abdomen. Mm-hmm. And, we're like, abdomen, I don't know if I would like that. Knowing what I've seen you do now, I thought, would it be the same procedure?
I don't do them in the abdomen, but I think they're the same.
With the whole...
Mm-hmm. You still get the incision.
The whole poking and jabbing thing?
Yep. They still poke and jab and put them in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that in the abdomen, I don't think. I don't know any different, but...
Yeah. Some people only know the abdomen, and they're like, in the butt. That's weird. Well,
she does the same, right back at it, like in your butt. And which gets me to my calendar pieces that I put here. And I've always got some stupid way of putting, I'm going to go see Marinda in the calendar, like stuffing in my butt or something like that.
Look, all these people are going to think I'm putting this in your butt.
Yeah, we got to clarify
We need to clarify where this is going on the butt.
We got to clarify it.
They're like, what are you doing on Tuesdays?
Your business may pick up. I'm just saying. Yeah, she's not stuffing them in my butt. There's an incision made kind of in just below the belt line, I guess, the upper buttock area. You alternate every time which side. Mm-hmm. And it's a comfortable place, right? Because you're not sitting on this procedure spot. So it's a little, not quite what I was saying, but it's a comfortable place to put it. It
is. It's a little below the belt, and not in like your butt cleft, as we call it, or your buttock cleft. It goes into just a little fat pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not a bad procedure. No. So you get numbed up.
Mm-hmm. That's the worst part.
That is the worst part.
Mm-hmm. It's the only part I can't take away. You're going to feel the poke and the burn of the numbing.
Yeah. But it's not that bad, really.
I don't think so.
No.
Well, I'm the one doing it. I'm not getting it. So for me, it's not that bad.
You do have a little smile every time you stick it in there, the needle in there.
Like, just a poke and a burn.
You'll just feel it for a few minutes.
I say it's a big poke, a big burn. And I had someone one time and they're like, you should say it's a little poke, a little burn. So I tried it for a little bit and then someone got mad and they were like, that is not little. And I was like, well, I can't make everyone happy.
You cannot.
It's a medium poke and burn.
So back to your me seeing how you do things. Mm-hmm. You okay if I tell that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do a numbing injection, and you got to give it a few minutes for the numbing agent to work, to do its thing. Well, now let me back up for a second, because I got to tell how we got there. So Stacy and I are now making our appointments together. We were coming separately. Mm-hmm. Somehow we got on the schedule of just coming together. And so this started off as my dad joke, right? Can you do us together? Can we put both our butts on the table?
I think it was our first appointment. You were like, can we be butt to butt?
One day we're going to make that happen.
That doesn't sound very sterile.
No.
Be a good promo.
Right.
Yes. When you guys need a commercial, it's going to be Stacy and I butt to butt on the table.
Being real. What is this?
It's good to know that was our first time with you.
It was.
Yeah, that's good. So in the past, I'd always been by myself. I don't know what you're doing back there, right? I just feel the first medium poking thing and burn. And then you always ask, can you feel this? Can you feel this? And you either can or you can't, right? And depending on the answer is, do you wait a little longer, or
I'm already there.
Are already there? So a couple times ago, I think I went first. No, I think I went second. I watched Stacy first, I think. And her little trick is she's got this little scapula thing.
Scalpel,
yeah. Yeah, thanks.
The scapula.
Yeah, that's the back, yeah. I'm still stuck on the procedure.
Don't worry, I do have a scapula.
See, there you go. Scalpel thing. And so the trick is, as this sweet looking person here is being all nice to you, talking all sweet, can you feel this? She's actually sticking a scalpel in your butt. And I'm like, holy crap, that's what you're doing?
It's my trick. Everybody's so nervous about it. They're like, it's a scalpel. I'm going to feel it. And I'm like, you won't. I promise. I let it numb. I take my time. Yeah. We talk about your day. Yes. I ask everyone, are they going back to work? And if I put the scalpel on, you're going to feel it. And I know immediately. They're like, whoa. And I'm like, all right, well, wait a minute. But if they don't do that immediate jump, I'm like, do you feel this?
Poke as it goes in.
And we're in.
Yeah, we're in. So I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking it's a needle or a pin or, you know.
You immediately called me out, too. You're like, oh, my gosh. That was a trick.
Look, I've seen your tricks now. Yeah. Can you feel this as a scalpel going in your butt?
But they don't feel it.
But they don't feel it. Yeah. It was just kind of shocking to see the first time. I was like, how about that? Now I know what she's doing.
Just don't try to trick me and jump on it. That won't go well.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So that starts the incision point. Then you got to, I guess, make the channels to put the
I use, it's called a trocar. And I have some people who like to call it the straw that pushes the pellets in.
That would be me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the trocar is just inserted and I spin it up to where I need it to be. I pull the center out and I put my little pellets in and I just push them in.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing takes maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be under 15.
Mm-hmm.
That's just with me talking probably to get the extra few minutes. So, yeah, it doesn't take long at all.
No.
And it really is painless other than that injection, which is not that bad.
Wow. There could be some tenderness after, males, they get a higher dose. They have a lot more pellets. So they're for sure a little tender that day. I usually see it getting in and out of the car when you're doing that bending motion. But for my females, it's usually not uncomfortable. They usually feel fine by the end of the day.
Yeah. The soreness that would come later would equate to like a bruise. Mm-hmm. It's not, there's no real pain associated with it. And not just because you're here, but the last couple of times that we've been, there's been no feeling, no pain associated with it.
Good.
Whereas the first couple of times you're like, that's a little sore, or, it's in that part of the butt, where you bend and so you can feel it there. So if you sit on the couch, you're not sitting on the pellets, but you may lean back on it or something like that. Mm-hmm. It seems like the first couple of times, like, that's a little sore.
But
it takes
you didn't have me the first couple of times.
I did not. You are exactly right. And the last couple of times, so I guess we've had you 4 times now for a year. So. The last couple of times, and really all 4, but the last couple of times have been like 0. Not even a bruise type of feeling.
Good.
So it's as pain free as you really can make it.
I really try to make it comfortable. And I've got a lot of experience with the hospital and doing procedures, seeing procedures. So I just take my time. I see it rushed a lot, and I think that's where the discomfort comes in. But like I said, I extended those appointments because I like talking, I like getting close, but I like taking my time too. You want to feel better, and I don't want it to hurt while I'm making you feel better. Right.
And so that comes across. So, as your patient and client, that comes across because everything you said is accurate. We sit and talk for a little bit, and, you're talking while you're working. So you got me numbing up, and we're just doing our thing. And can you feel this? Can you not feel it? And it's a yes or no. And next thing you know, you're pretty well done. Mm-hmm. As far as what I would feel, you just feel some pressure, so now that I've been through it several times, I know what part of the process that you're in and how long it's going to last. But even then, there's no pressure to it at all, no pain to it at all. So it's a great process, really.
Good.
Yeah. Not to mention the benefits that come with it. So, so where are these BioTe pellets made?
So they're made in a compounding pharmacy. Now there's different pharmacies you can get them from. But we order them from our pharmacy and they get sent to us.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not in the back like rolling up pellets. That's not what I do Monday, Thursday, and Friday.
Pellet rolling day. Well, maybe one day. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I guess I was thinking they came from, I was thinking BioTe made them themselves.
BioTe is the company I'm trained through. So I'm a BioTe provider and certified through them. And then you get them from pharmacies because it is a medication. And testosterone is a controlled substance. So they come from pharmacies and that's really monitored.
So it's not a BioTe pellet.
No. BioTe is just who I trained through.
I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've learned that then.
But it is special to be a BioTe provider. They bring you in and they teach you about all kinds of things. Oh my gosh. I was in that class and I was like, when did I not learn all this in all the years of school? So I really do enjoy being a BioTe provider for sure.
Is that again, my ignorance here, but is that like the brand or a recognized brand of this world?
I haven't really looked up other ones.
We hadn't either.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed them and I've learned a lot. And, they have resources available to me all the time. I have resources I can call if I have questions. They have advanced trainings through the year, even after you've been through your initial training. So I have been really pleased with them. Yeah. But it is kind of cool. Say you live in Kentucky and you're like, well, I've got to make a relocation and I'm going to be going to Florida or North Carolina, California. You can look through BioTe and find another BioTe provider that way. So I do think that that's really nice too. Yeah. Yeah. So you've challenged me here because I was thinking BioTe was the product itself. It's the training. Mm-hmm. So then we would be really particular, I think, at finding another BioTe trained professional to do that work. If you enjoy me and my work. That I do. There's a lot of jokes there, but yeah, I'm going to move on. I always recommend looking for another BioTe provider because I know the training they've been through. So for me, and if I want my patient to, trust the next provider, I always recommend going through another BioTe provider just because I know the training. I know that they've done this or that and what they need to know or not know. And I think that makes it safe because if I just send you out and about, I'm like, oh, just find another pellet there in Florida. Who knows what you'll get? There's some people who get replacement and they tell me they've never had labs. And I'm like, that's wild. Yeah. I monitor everyone's labs and symptoms. And so I always recommend finding another BioTe provider. So as far as labs go, let's talk about how you monitor that. Mm-hmm. So I think we do an annual. No, we do annual labs. We do a full set of annual labs, and then you get your pellets, and we do another set of labs, and just to check that dosing and then your symptoms. And I can adjust your dosage based off your labs, based off your symptoms, and then we do them periodically after that too. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. So we had the initial ones and then we come back. Mm-hmm. Now I think we've done that this year too, right? We had an extra set of labs drawn. Maybe. I think. I'm pretty particular about my labs. So if I feel like I need them or I see that. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do labs. Yeah. So for me specifically, one of the concerns is that I'm getting it too high of a level. Mm-hmm. And now that can be problematic as well, which is why you're checking the labs and doing this, right? Mm-hmm. What would be the issues that I would run into if I had too high of labs? Why is your process so important for people to consider? Sure. And it's always a bit of a difficult phone call because everyone's like, no, I feel great. I want to stay right here. And I'm like, well, we don't want to get too high. And then we have other risks at that point. And for you, I was like, let's think of your cardiovascular health. Like if you get too high and those things aren't monitored, other things can go wrong. So I try to really stay on top of those and have those hard conversations because we had a hard conversation. Yeah, we did. We were on the phone and I was like, I know it's going to be a hard phone call. I know he's not going to want to hear this. No. But, I told you on that phone call, I said, I'm thinking of your health as a whole. You feel great, but we also have to make sure we're being safe too. Yeah. So from my perspective and probably from the patient's perspective, you go from a place of where you feel so bad and and I'm going to say it again, it is a life-changing thing for us. So I'm not producing, but I'm going to have to stay on this HRT
for as long as I want to feel this feeling. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so, I knew that going into it, and we were fine with it. It was like, we could try it, and I can always go off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I became really protective, still am, became very protective of it, because I went from a place of, you don't even get off the couch at 2 p.m, and go to bed at 11 and just repeat that every day. I went from this place of just feeling horrible to this place of, holy crap, how can I sign other people up to get in there, right? And so it is a little bit of a difficult conversation, because you become very protective over that feeling. And I appreciated our phone call. I really did. I knew it was coming, and we needed to have it. But I really was trying to protect the feeling, and I still am fearful of, because now we've reduced at least my dosage to try it this time, not by much, just a little bit. So, after our conversation, I did my own research, and I thought, there is a problem with having too much. And, there's some other symptoms too that would mirror a low libido, or just different functions that, your body has during the day. And I thought, well, here I am protecting this, and I may be experiencing some of those things that I'd never looked at or talked about before. So, at the end of the day, I appreciated that conversation, and, we're just now trying this lower rate, and we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I'm kind of losing my point there with it, but I appreciated the fact that we had the labs and we have the conversation, which gets back to the relationships and everything else that we're building.
And I think most people appreciate it. I know it's because people are scared. They're like, well, if you lower me, I'm going to go back to what I was. I'm like, no, we're not going back to what you were. We're just being safe. I want to take care of you and not have you sitting at this high level. We've got to make sure you're in a safe range. And most people are very understanding of that, but they do, I've never thought of it that way. You probably do come from a fearful side of it, where you're like, I don't want to feel like that again. I can't do this.
Completely. That was my perspective of, I'm fearful that I'm going to go back, and I don't want to do that. And for me too, the way that I'm wired, I like to find that maximum place, and there I know my boundaries, and I don't know that I found it. Maybe I did, I also can't say I know what that would even feel like. So maybe I did find my maximum boundaries, and by the labs, I probably did. I just fortunately didn't have health concerns. That would be what would be obvious to me, right? Is that something health relates, but that's why you're here. So for me, I'm trying to protect that. And my natural thing is like, let's kick it up another notch, because I still had some ceiling left to get on dosage, I think. Let's kick it up. Let's see what's next. That's would be how I'm wired for that. So to get a call is like, we're going to dial this back, is a hard place for me.
But you did it. You trusted me.
I do.
And so we're okay.
Yeah, we're going to be just fine. So when I look to say, hey, dummy, there's some dangers here with, you shouldn't wait till you have serious health issues to say, she's right. Let's take it down a little bit. She's telling you up front. So yeah, that was good. And I looked at it as a math formula. You explained it a different way. And I looked at it as a math formula to say X dosage, Y time equals something else, is happiness or whatever it was I had at the end. And so I thought, if you're changing dosage or time, then that has to affect, Z in this formula. And I appreciate the fact that you switched to however you were explaining it to, okay, you're doing it as a math formula. Well, here's what the formula is going to look like.
I did. But I will not lie to you. I remember rolling my eyes and being like, oh God, math.
It's like, oh God, what an asshole.
But you kept saying, you're like, it's a formula. And I was like, all right, let me reroute this. And I gave you a formula back.
Yeah, you did.
Let me do it in terms they'll understand, I guess.
Yeah.
We're back to math.
Well, I needed that. I needed to hear the math formula to have it make sense. And I still struggle with it, right? Because we've reduced the dosage. The time has stayed the same. And so for me in that math formula, like, I don't know how Z is going to actually equal what we're doing. But through that conversation that we had, then I was like, oh, well, let's look some of this stuff up. And, you don't have to take her word. You can do some independent research also. And then you're like, well, yeah, she may be right. I think maybe I am seeing some of this stuff of having too much testosterone. So let's give it a shot and back it off. So that's where we are.
Good. I'm glad you came to that conclusion, because when you came to your next appointment, I was going to tell you didn't really have a choice at this moment.
Well, I was preparing myself for that conversation too. So, yeah, I know I can only bluff it so long.
I know. I think a lot of people think that they can push me back, and I'm like, well, no. This is what I'm trying to be nice about it and telling you what you need to do.
Well, there are options, right? But, then you're back to saying, would you be happy with other options and providers, right? You can always do other things. But I thought, you got to listen at some point. And I know my limitations, and I know what I know and what I don't know.
I also think that relationship I provide makes it easier to listen. You call, if someone's like, no, you're going to do this, you have to do this, but they don't do that whole listening, hearing, we have our relationship. It's harder to listen. But I think where I provide that, let's talk, let's get through this, let's fix you as a whole, it's easier to listen to me when I call. Even if it's not what you want to hear, it is a lot easier to accept what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, both Stacy and I have always been around licensure, so we understand the licensure part of it. And at the end of the day, I support your licensure, right? Because it's just for a whole host of reasons. But at some point, you got to put weight in that to say, listen, it's her license on the line, and she's
worked hard for it.
And she's giving you the answers that you actually need to hear, not want to hear. And she's doing it in a way that you can relate to. And I share that with you because there's been those before you to say, how much are you getting and what are you doing? And I became very defensive over that to say, well, I'm going to stick with that. And if we're not sticking with that, then I'm not sticking here. And they took the more bullheaded approach as far as, oh yeah, type of approach. And I'm like, yeah, there's other people that I can go see. And so I share that to say I appreciate the approach that we ultimately got to, because it worked for me.
Good. I'm glad. I had to dig deep for those formulas. But I did. I said, okay, he's telling me formulas. Let me reroute. Let's talk in a way he can understand.
Yes. I'm glad I challenged you. I don't always get to do that.
There's a heavy eye roll on the other end.
Probably on my end too. Like, oh my God.
I think I hung up the phone and I was like, guys, I'm over here doing math problems.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm visual, and I had to.
It didn't take me long. I mean, it worked out. Obviously, we did okay.
Yeah, here we are.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
Might not forget that conversation.
Well, I hope it helps in some way. Somebody else down the road that has.
I appreciate, I just took it off a whim. I was like, let me do this formula, but I'm glad that you appreciate that side of it. You're like, okay, she did change it up. She's trying to make it to where I can understand that. That makes me feel better.
It really did. I needed to have it. I'll tell the story. So there was, I don't know what her role was. This is, I guess, the time before you. The rep, there was a BioTe rep or something there. You weren't there. And so let me back up and say, I always say I'm on the women's dose. Now, I'm sure I'm messing that up. It's more like a women's schedule or something like that, every 3 months or so.
You're not on a women's dose by any means.
Right.
But you do come a little earlier.
Yeah. So I was originally given the option, this is on day number 1, the consult day, of coming every 3 months or coming every 6 months. Which gets into the why of time, right, in my formula that I'm seeing. And so I chose, because I was active and, I walk, I exercise, I work out, I'm doing all the things. I'm just not sitting on the couch. I mean, we're almost in perpetual motion at home. And so we made the decision of going with 3 months. And I think it was presented to me, that's more of what the ladies do is the 3 month.
Yeah. They come every 3 to 4.
Okay. So I was like, okay, let's go with that one because I'm afraid I'm going to burn through this. Now for me, I'm going to tell you that was, I would never change that. Would I have the same dose if I chose 6 months? Would I have the same?
No. So when you do every 6 months, it's a bigger dose, because it lasts a lot longer. And some guys love that. They stick to their 6 month schedule, and then some love their 4 to 5 month schedule.
Yeah. I like the shorter schedule. Now I didn't realize that about the dose, right? So, that's interesting to me, but I don't think I would change it now because I know what to expect and I know where it's at. So what I was afraid of is that if I had the same dose over the same amount of time or a longer amount of time, because they do wear off, we reach a point where you're like, it's time. It's just time. It's time to go get more. And that's what I was afraid of is that if we continue to extend this thing out, then that's more time of me feeling like crap. That's why I was so defensive over the time piece to it.
Yeah.
Not knowing that the dose was different, I suppose.
But I think we came to a good compromise.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you know what, I'll work with you and we'll do this time frame, but we've got to come down on the dose.
Yeah.
Because it is a higher dose for males. So you don't need it that often. But I do know you wear out a lot faster.
Yeah.
And so we came to a good compromise about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the part of this relationship and this thing that we're talking about is we came to a great compromise over it. And you don't always get that somewhere else. Nor do I think there's a little bit of customization that we're doing here.
I feel like I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I have to listen to every single, it's not this is messed up. Everybody gets this dose. Everybody starts here. No, I try to customize as much as I can for each patient because I have to listen to what their symptoms are. I need to think about how active they are. What's their metabolism like? I know so-and-so can go 5 months and then she's going to be like, all right, now I feel bad. So I try to customize that to each of my patients that I can.
Yeah. And I don't think you get that anywhere or everywhere, I should say. I mean, that's really the thing that keeps us coming there because we feel that.
Good.
And that's important to us. And so as we sell this to literally everybody that will listen, like, you may or may not think your testosterone is low, or you may or may not think your hormones need help, but you need to make the appointment and you need to go. Here's the pros and cons of what we've experienced, but you need to go do it. And so that customization piece is something that we're always saying, like, listen, they'll make it for you and get you what you need and, off you go. So
absolutely. I try very hard. I want each of my patients to feel very special in the time that they have with me. And I want them to feel that I'm doing something different. I want to be a provider who listens and cares. And I know this about you and that's just my goal. I want people to feel like they're getting that custom treatment.
Yeah. Well, that's right. So let's talk about the benefits of getting these hormones optimized. I finally remembered the word. For us, you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. For us, it was this, again, there's not like this tangible energy feeling that you have. You just look back at where you were and realize, holy crap, I'm not even the same. Since I told you this started as a weight loss thing for me, I think the initial part is I lost about 15 pounds, I think, with this, kind of plateaued, and then worked on diet and exercise again, and eventually lost a lot more weight. But this was the first thing that really set it off in motion, where you could say, okay, I'm doing what I've always done, but suddenly now my body, I'm maintaining it. The weight is coming off, which is only going to give you more energy and more abilities to have a big day, I guess. And then the big one we should probably spend some time is the sex drive. And of course, everybody asks the same questions, right? Like, what is that like? I was like, well, I don't know what point in your life you want to go back and compare sex drive to, but let's just go back to the younger days. We'll say it's like the younger days all over, and you almost have to be prepared for that. because that's a real effect of this that it has.
I think I tell most all of my females that come in on their first appointment, I'm like, all right, let's give it a couple months, and then you send your husband to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably how it works, isn't it?
It goes that way a lot.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of men that do this?
I don't have as many men as females. I definitely have more females, but I do have quite a bit of men I see.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Is it a pride thing, or is it we just don't know?
I think women think about it because they're like, I feel menopausal. I'm feeling these menopausal symptoms. I'm having night sweats. I feel bad. And I think men don't think about it. I don't know if they don't think about it or they don't like you didn't know what was wrong. And a lot of men don't know, hey, come get your testosterone checked, because you start losing it in your 30s as a male. And most people think I'm in my prime. I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm great.
Yeah.
And you just don't realize you're already losing it. And so I don't know if they just don't think about, hey, that could be the issue.
Yeah. Of course, with men, there's a lot to unwrap of what it could be, right? Just ego and hard-headedness and stubbornness and pride, and does it really matter? You know, it's my world, whatever you want to say with it. And those are my words. So I don't know if men really know. You know, I don't know if I would have known to check other than having a healthcare person in my life, being married to a nurse. I don't know that I would have known about some of that stuff.
I think a lot of men come to me when they get to your point. I don't think men know we don't have to get to that low of a point of feeling bad before we can get this optimized or replaced. But I think they just get to a point where they're like, I don't care anymore. Let's throw the pride out the window. I've got to get this fixed.
That's a good point. So of the friends that have reached out to me to say, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What does that look like? And I tell the story like, listen, this is where I was and this is what it was looked like for me. And then they'll say, well, that's kind of where I'm at too. You know, something's got to change. Mm-hmm. Well, then make the phone call and you need to go but you need to be ready for it on the back end. Hope your wife's ready for it.
Yeah, I do my consults and somebody, it happens all the time. They're like, I'm really embarrassed. I'm like, please don't be. Tuesday is butt day and all we do is talk about sex. Don't be embarrassed. You tell me what it is and let me fix it.
Yeah, that's a lot of truth in that. And the same effect for Stacy too. I mean, it's just been amazing the change that has happened, and we always just dismiss it as, well, we're getting older, we're busy, you work, you got kids, you got to mow the grass, whatever, and there's just there's just no time, or maybe we'll make time the third Saturday of.
You start scheduling
stuff, and that's no way to be.
No.
And, everybody says we should, I wish it was like the old days or whatever. And well, this is the magic potion, because you won't schedule it after that. We'll schedule mowing the grass and we'll schedule kids. We can feed the kids
we schedule to Marinda and we stick by it.
Yeah. That's the most important schedule we've got. We can feed our kids Thursday. Yeah.
In all seriousness though, I've heard multiple times, like, this has saved my marriage. My marriage is so much better. I had all these things going on and this has really helped my marriage. I do hear that quite a bit, and it does make me feel good, because again, people don't think about it, and they think it's just part of getting older. We've been married 30 years. This is just what it is now. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No. And even though we're in our early 50s, I mean, there's still a lot of life left, and there's still a lot to experience and, to share, I suppose. And not just talking sex, that's included, but just everything else that comes with this, just puts you in a position to feel good about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really singing the praises of it, but I truly believe it.
But it really does. I mean, you love it. People love it. You feel so much better.
Yeah.
So it's easy to sing the praises of it.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, they're like, do your patients really like that? And I'm like, they do,
Yeah.
They love this. They feel so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no real comparison to it. So it's been great for us.
Good.
Yeah. What else are we not covering on the, I feel like there's something about the HRT that I need to dig out, but I'm drawing a blank.
I mean, we've completely neglected the women.
Let's do it.
We've talked a lot about you.
Yes, we have.
And for women, that's who I see the most, because you get to that perimenopausal stage of life where same place though. You're like, I can't function. I'm so tired. I don't have my energy. I'm holding this weight in my abdomen. I'm having these night sweats. I'm having hot flashes. Like, this is awful. And these hormones can help that. I've had people going through menopause that don't have any of those symptoms because we replace the hormones or optimize the hormones to get rid of those symptoms before you have to. Because when you go to the doctor, I hear it all the time. Oh, they just told me I'm menopausal. There's nothing they can do. I'm menopausal. And I'm like, no, we can help that. We can help those symptoms. And it helps with libido in women as well. It helps with vaginal dryness. A lot of people don't think about that. I've had people with vaginal pain. They don't have that anymore when they're having sex. And that's life-changing for a lot of women who think that they have to live that way forever.
Yeah. So for us, it's been one of those things to say, and I'm not trying to talk about myself. I'm just, that's just what I know.
That's your experience.
Yes, my experience. All that stuff comes in there, right? That I think a lot of people just don't know and don't understand how it all works. Let's talk a minute about sex. Sex is part of life. It's beautiful and it's essential to living a great life. Enter my friends at Shameless Care, who have created something cool for your personal health care. Shameless Care offers a variety of products you may be interested in. ED treatments, STI treatments, STD testing. So how does it work? Well, that's the easy part. You go to shamelesscare.com, you choose the product you're interested in, you complete an online questionnaire, which is reviewed by a medical doctor, by the way. Pay for the product, and in a couple of days, discreet packaging arrives right to your doorstep. Their customer service is second to none. They're always responsive, and they care. Listen, Ashley's the best. Tell her I said hello. They're a small business ran by people like you and me, and they're incredible. And the best part? We can save you some money. Click on the link in the show notes. Use the code JUDE at checkout. It's JUDE. And save $30 on your first purchase. That's not bad, huh? Visit our website to learn more. Shamelesscare.com. And don't forget the promo code JUDE.
I make the joke all the time, probably every week, that women are told, we're this way because we're so hormonal. Oh, you're just that way because you're so hormonal. And I make the joke every week. I'm like, you know what? It turns out we just have a lack of hormones. We weren't hormonal enough. But it's so true.
Yeah.
It can, you have these mood swings, this irritability, and it's this lack of hormones.
How does that work in the body? That's my non-knowing question, but how does this balance the hormones and how does that impact the body?
So for women, there are over 400 functions for estrogen in our body. It protects our skin. It protects nerves in your brains. It decreases risk of Alzheimer's disease. You decrease risk for cardiac events. There's so much your hormones do that a lot of people don't think about, that they protect your body from so many things. And there's so many functions that they go into that just either make you feel bad or make you feel better when you get them replaced.
And why are we losing them?
You caught me on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know why we lose them. I just know we start pretty young. For women, it's in your 20s, and for men, it's in your 30s.
Do we just stop producing them? Is that how it works?
I'd say diet and environment.
Mm-hmm.
Are the two biggest things.
I think your diet could play a role in it. I think your metabolism plays a role in it because your thyroid plays a role in it too. And if your metabolism's low, your thyroid goes into effect with that too. If you've got low thyroid, you've got low metabolism, you're going to have low hormones because it's releasing them. I think we start decreasing how much we produce of it. When women start going through menopause, your ovaries aren't producing enough. For men, it's your testes. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. And I know we just start losing it a lot sooner than what people think.
Yeah. So to me, it's interesting that a testosterone pellet fixes this. I mean, are there other solutions to fix these issues, to balance or optimize
Your
hormones?
Well, you've got your creams you tried.
Any effective other solution? How about that?
I do monitor and manage the thyroid too. If I see that someone's thyroid isn't functioning properly, I help manage that too. But generally, you have to replace those. You're not making it as much anymore. So we've got to optimize, replace that, and then we're going to manage the gland that releases it.
So again, coming from a position where I don't have a fraction of the medical knowledge, and my joke's always been I married that, so I don't have to learn any of it. So I don't have a fraction of that knowledge, and it just seems really curious to me that a testosterone pellet is what gets everything lined up again.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I'm trying to think of a math formula for you. You've got a really low number. The way to increase that number is with addition. So we need to add it in.
I'll give you credit for that, I guess.
I'm trying.
I was just thinking there would be another thing the body produces that would fix it. I mean, I'm happy. I don't have any complaints, obviously, about it, but and I don't know how it works. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's just fascinating that this is the solution.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we just have to get them back up to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no losing a bunch of weight isn't going to make you make more testosterone, if that's what you're thinking. We just have to replace it.
No, I think there'd be a thyroid fluid or a
thyroid fluid.
Some other thing that could be taken, but it appears this is the product.
No, I do have hormone patients who take thyroid medicine.
Sure.
That's really common.
Yeah.
Because I monitor that thyroid the whole time too, because there's no point in me replacing those hormones if your thyroid's not working.
Yeah.
So we do manage that too.
Sure.
But I've found that just fixing the thyroid doesn't replace you enough to where you need to be.
Right, because we stop producing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to start producing testosterone really again.
No, you're not going to start producing it enough to really be where you need to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm going to keep taking these because as soon as I stop, I'll just go back to my baseline.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So of the women that come in, do they experience kind of the same journey that I've been explaining for what my experience has been?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, they come in and they're just at their wit's end. They're like, I'm tired. I don't know why I feel this way. I went through menopause, but I'm not getting any better now that I'm past that point. Or like me, I'm 31 years old and I was so tired. I thought I had cancer. I went to the doctor and we thought I had cancer. I was so fatigued and I couldn't function. And I'm a busy person. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. I've worked 2 jobs, but I've done that for years.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're stressed. And I was like, no, that's my baseline, being that busy, but something is wrong. And we were running all these tests and it was my lack of hormones. So I think women get to a point like that and they come in and they're like, all right, we've got to fix this. Because also I think women think you have to have gone through menopause to get your hormones replaced, and that's not true either. You may still be making estrogen and I don't need to touch that or replace that, but I can replace your testosterone and we can still make a lot of symptoms feel better.
Yeah, I keep coming back to it, and it's just fascinating to me. One of the triggers, I guess, for me, or one of the moments that set this whole thing off for me, there was a little tiny, I don't even know if it's a sapling. I don't know if it's big enough even to call it a sapling, little baby tree, right? Mm-hmm. It's growing in an old garden space of ours. We were trying to till it up or whatever. And so we're like, hey, we need to get this little, and I'm saying tiny little thing. And for the life of me, I could not get it out of the old garden. And I would pull on it to the point I was like, I can't breathe. So to your point of where you shared, you had a cancer thought come through. Mine was cardiac. Yeah. I thought, I'm having a heart attack. I mean, I cannot function here. So that was one of the final things that moved me towards doing this, right? And so we went to a regular doctor, and like, oh my gosh, we should do cardio workups and all these things on you. And, no, you're fine. Like, then explain it to me. Explain me why I can't walk to that door. Explain why this is happening. And anyway, so mine was just a little bit different, but
yeah, but I mean, it comes from the same thing though. You know, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think we think about it enough.
Yeah.
That it could just be hormones.
What do people need to consider when they're thinking about HRT? I mean, if they're listening to this and they're saying, hey, you're kind of hitting me here with some of this stuff. I mean, what else do they need to consider about these things?
You mean like considerations before or things they should? What do you mean?
Yeah. If they're in that position of saying, all right, I've got some of those things, but I don't know if it's for me, or I don't know, is this the answer? Is there a way to think about that or know that before they come see you?
Not really. I mean, I always recommend you just have your labs drawn, because so many of the symptoms can be so many things. Like you said, you thought you had a heart attack. My doctor and we thought I had cancer. So it's just getting those labs checked so you can confirm it, because there's so many symptoms that can mean so many things. And that's just the healthcare world. We have to weed through our symptoms. But if you're like, oh, you know what, I check a lot of those boxes, it really doesn't hurt to just get your labs checked. Yeah.
That would probably be the best advice is if you're listening and you are sharing some of these stories that we're sharing with you, then you should, I guess. It doesn't cost anything. Well, it does cost, but I mean, it doesn't take anything other than time to come over but if you're willing to make that investment in your health, then you're going to squeeze out the time to come have your labs drawn.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get to that point of that feeling in life, you're like, I can make a little time if I'm going to feel better.
Yeah. Well, that's true. If you're able to say, something's got to change, then you're going to make some space for those labs. So your process with the labs, we come in, we get the labs done. We're not doing the pellets that first day.
No, we're going to get our lab results back, and then I, get your dosing that I want, and then you come back and I pellet on Tuesdays in Lexington. In London, I pellet on Thursdays.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we got a couple places where they could see you.
3.
Yeah,
there's Lexington and London, and I'm in both those locations. And then we have a location in Louisville, too.
Oh, nice. Nice. So let's talk a little bit about what else Ageless offers.
Sure.
So, again, my initial thing was coming for the weight loss program. I'd seen the commercials for years, and I thought, yep, that's for me.
Our beautiful Julie.
Yes. Yeah, she was wonderful. It was wonderful. Every time you talk to her, she's the best. So I know you still have a weight loss program.
We do. Yeah. We have our original weight loss program where you follow with our shakes and our protein bars and real meal replacements, and we guide you through that. And then more commonly now we have, our weight loss injection, and that we see quite a bit.
How does that compare? Can you make a comparison between
the two?
Yeah.
I can. With the original plan, you're following meal replacements. And with the weight loss injection, you're having appetite suppression. So you're learning portion control. It goes in and kind of controls that craving part of your brain and shuts it off almost. In the office, we call it food noise. You wake up and you're like, what am I going to eat for lunch? What am I going to eat for dinner? I really want this. I really want that. And it just turns off that food noise. So there's a big difference in them, but some people can't take the injection. So, they have success in that original weight loss program with meal replacement.
Yeah. Yeah. Food noise is a good way to put that. Yeah. It's made me realize how, centered I am on food. And, to get away from that is awesome.
It is. And there's this saying, I think it's, do you live to eat or eat to live?
Yeah.
And it kind of flips those for you. Because, on one side, you're like, no, I live to eat. I love food.
Yeah, right.
But then it catches up to us.
Yes, it does.
And we got to flip it to just eat to live.
It's a horrible joke I would make on myself. I used to eat and say I'm eating as if every meal is my last meal. If this is my last meal, you make it a good one. Get everything that you want out of it or whatever. But that caught up to me pretty quick.
I'll tell you, I've had my own weight loss journey and lost quite a bit of weight, but my turning point was I've got these 2 little boys and they eat everything. Boys eat everything.
Yeah.
And at night I would be rocking them to sleep. And I'm like, what can I DoorDash? I don't have to share. And like, I was doing that so much, and I was like, all right, this is bad. We've got to make a change.
We recently DoorDashed Dairy Queen. We were sitting there one night and had a craving for like a blizzard. And Stacy's like, we should DoorDash Dairy Queen. I was like, I don't want to pay all those fees for ice cream. I mean,
But we do it.
but we do it.
We do it.
I was like, well, I don't want to, get dressed and, run across town either. It's like 8:30, 8:45 at night. I think they close at 9 or 10.
I'll tell you, my kryptonite's White Castle.
Is it really?
It's White Castle. I would DoorDash it all the time and eat those little burgers.
That's awesome.
But I'll tell you, I did the semaglutide, and not one time did I DoorDash anything at night. It was a wild experience, and I mostly wanted to try it because I want to give a good, accurate description of it to the patients. And I mean, it completely shut off that food noise. I didn't eat at night. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need that. We got to stop that. So it is really beneficial. It is a great tool for weight loss. And I teach all of my patients, use this as a tool. This can't be all you're doing, because if you don't make the changes, then it's going to be like any other fad diet you've tried.
Yeah. I still struggle with that from time to time. I mean, I can get rid of the food noise and I can make good progress on stuff, but so I don't know if there's something more hardwired in me to, that I keep wanting to go back to the food part, but I mean, that'll probably always be there for me. I'll probably always have to work on that.
I think, for me at least, it's been my whole life,
Yeah.
We would go to church on Sunday and you pick a restaurant, we eat and we eat.
Yeah.
And I think it's so hard to change habits once you've done them for years and years.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of truth to that. And, I look back at my family and sure enough, if you were to go to my mom and dad's house, what's the first thing they're going to ask? Do you want something to eat? And not that they ask you once, they ask you like 7 times in an hour-long visit. Do you want something? No, I don't want anything to eat. I know you'll make it for me if I want it. Yeah. You want something? No, I don't want anything.
Yeah.
So it has been hardwired to us, I guess. So, okay. So you do some of the weight loss stuff. What else do you guys have?
We have a full med spa. So we do our Botox, we do Xeomin, we do Dysport, we have fillers, we've got a couple lasers. We've got one called IPL, and it helps with like hyperpigmentation, so dark spots and age spots on the face. And then we have a laser hair removal. And then we have a really cool thing called Morpheus, and it's this huge, like microneedle almost, if you think about it, with radio frequency heat, and it goes in and kind of helps create more collagen, tightens the skin. There's a lot of anti-aging going on at the Ageless Center.
Yeah. Perfect name for it, right?
It is.
So have you guys always had all of those services, or are those new?
No, they've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
I think Ageless is just known for weight loss because that's what a lot of people think of when they want to do weight loss. And then they find us. There's Caitlin and I in the back, and we're in our little med spa area.
Yeah. That was a surprise to us, because we came for the weight loss part of it, which led us to HRT. But after we got in there, like, did you know they did that? Had no idea. So yeah, that was a kind of a big surprise for us too.
You just come see me. I've got the small, medium, and large pokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what else is in there that we need to look at. Let's talk about that cool sculpting thing. What's your thought on that? No.
We don't have it anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Did you think it was effective?
It was gone before I started, so I've never even experienced it.
Yeah, some of that stuff I always wonder about, right? I don't know if that's effective or not. And
I have some patients who still call and ask about it because they've had it before, or they loved it, or knew someone who loved it. But I don't think we've had it for a little over a year now.
Yeah. Well, you've been around for a while, so that would tell me what I need to know probably about it. It always seems like one of those things you got to keep coming back and doing it. And I don't know. I've not been around it enough to say if it works or not. But of all the things, that always seems like the fattish part of it all, or something like that. I don't know that you can burn fat or cold fat off with that sculpting machine. I don't know. Am I thinking right with what it does?
I think.
Yeah. Well, to your point. Yeah. It was gone before you got there. All right. Never mind.
There is a way too. You can get liposuction, and that completely pulls the fat out.
Well, that's different than...
No, that's different than cool sculpting.
Yeah, putting a little machine on you to freeze it off or whatever it does. Yeah. But you don't do lipo there.
No.
Okay.
That would be plastic surgery.
Well, there's some like mini lipo, or what's the procedure called? Like micro lipo, or I mean, it's still lipo, but
It would probably be at the plastic surgeon's office.
so it's there, but there's also there's a boutique place that offers just lipo.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there's now some less invasive forms of it.
There's definitely less invasive forms now, you know.
That's what I was thinking, the top one up there. Yeah.
Oh.
What was it called? Sonobello or something like that? Sonobello. And we're not talking about them. That's the one I was thinking of, that it has some type of.
Like a laser lipo?
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I've got no laser lipo at Ageless.
Yeah. So what's the favorite thing that you do? What do you like the best?
I think I love doing neurotoxin. So my Botox, Xeomin, and Dysport, it's life-changing. It's such a small thing that people come in for. Very quick appointment. And it builds so much confidence. And it's such an art to do, because I like that I can look at you. I know where your muscles are. There's so many muscles and arteries and veins in our faces. And I love that I can look at you, see where you need this, and then you come back and you're like, I feel amazing. I look so good. I didn't think I could look this good. And I love the confidence it gives people. I really enjoy that. I enjoy seeing my same patients come back with HRT. You know, I have all of you guys come back every so months. It's the same with them. They come every 3 to 4 months, and I just enjoy that. You know, I didn't get that at the hospital. You treat people, you send them home. So I love that I meet new people, and it just becomes like a family there, because you see them and you're excited. They want to be there. That's why I left the hospital originally, because I was like, I want people to want to see me.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy that.
And that's something that you have to be trained in order to do, right?
Yeah.
And so you just don't offer the service and poke people's forehead with needles to.
I would hope no one does that.
Yeah, I would hope as well, because like you said, there is kind of an art to it. And you can create a youthful look, like a brow lift, or what's the lip thing where you like
lip flip?
Lip flip. That's it. I knew it rhymed. I couldn't get
Everybody
there.
loves a lip flip.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, because maybe some people listening won't know what that is. So what is a lip flip?
So say you want a little bit more plump of a lip, but you're scared of fillers. You're like, no, everybody says that hurts. I don't want to do that. You can try just a little lip flip. And that's where we put that neurotoxin in that muscle above your lip. It kind of, what neurotoxin does is it paralyzes the muscle.
Yeah.
So it paralyzes that muscle and kind of flips your lip up a little bit. So you get a plump look without having to go through fillers.
Yeah. And that's a training piece as well. Right. And so how do you get the ability to do a good lip flip?
You learn where those muscles are, and you gotta know which ones to hit. Every nurse I train, they're like, well, do I just follow this pattern? And I'm like, it is not a pattern thing. You have to know your muscles. And in nursing school, and even in nurse practitioner school, it's not like I was taught all the muscles of the face.
Right.
I had to go and really learn these, because they're everywhere. And one small move to the right or left, and you could hit the wrong muscle. And then you're going to be coming back to me not happy.
Right.
So I teach all of my nurses, learn your face muscles. It's going to be the most important thing you do. Because if you can look at someone and assess them, and they say, hey, this is what bothers me. Maybe it's this right above my lip. Find the muscle that's pulling that, and that's what you need to go to. So and then that's, I think, what makes the art great.
Yeah. And same for the brows, the eyebrows.
Yeah. You got to know which muscle you're going to freeze to make those brows rise.
And you know them.
I do.
Yeah. I don't think everybody does.
Everybody can make mistakes. It's not like it's a perfect thing every time, but hopefully they learn from it. It's not forever. Say you had a mistake happen and your brow drops instead of raises. It's annoying, and you're really worried about it, but it doesn't last forever, and that's the good part about it.
Yeah, it lasts, a couple months, something like that?
It should last 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah. How would one research like where to go to? Because there's a lot of services like that that's available.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. We always recommend looking on Google. I love it when people leave me Google reviews. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing something that really helped someone and made them feel better. So I always say look at your Google reviews, because you can find a med spa, good Lord, on every corner in Lexington now, it feels like.
Yeah, that's right. Like you said earlier, every town has some sort of offering or multiple offerings for it.
Absolutely.
It almost seems like it's so much that you don't know how to make the right choice for it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I am the right choice.
That's what I said. I don't know what came out, but what I meant was there's only one choice.
There's only one choice, and it's Marinda.
That needs to be on your business card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll have to update it.
What else do we need to talk about? What else do we need to get out here? What haven't we covered that we should talk about with any of the services?
I think we've got all of them covered. And it's not just Lexington. I think we said that, I go to Louisville and I've got a nurse there and she does med spa. I do the hormones in Louisville. We've got a weight loss team there. There's one in London.
Do you find people that travel to you? I mean, you would be local for me, right? But
right.
do you find people that will travel to come get your services?
Absolutely. There was a time I was traveling to Louisville, and it was kind of an interim thing until a new nurse practitioner started. But I now have several people who come from Louisville just to see me in Lexington.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have lots of people who come from, before I took over the London location, a lot of people would drive from that area and come see me in Lexington as well.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it speaks to you and your work, right? Because we've been saying it, we said it several times. They'll pass 100 other places by the time they would just drive that hour and a half to get to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
I'm confident enough to say I'm the right one if they're coming from that far.
There's a lot to be said for that. Yeah. What's the best way for people to find you?
You can look us up online at agelesscenter.net. We have a phone number. It's 859-335-1330. Yeah. And then, we do have social media too. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Every now and then, Caitlin and I will throw out a TikTok.
I've got to find these.
They're very entertaining. Yeah. Our boss, he was like, we really need to get on TikTok. He was like, can you do this to promote this, or this? And we're like, absolutely. And we just have so much fun with it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do some research on that. I'm trying to do the TikTok thing, and I was looking back at my account and I thought, they're all kind of the same video suddenly. Mm-hmm. So I've got a bunch of just my head and the camera. And I thought, that's fine, for a time or two, but you might want to do something different.
I think we really went wrong back a couple of years ago when everybody got on TikTok, and now they're all just millionaires.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's when we should have been trying the TikTok.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so they're going to call the number, or we see on the website here. You can follow the link on the website to request an appointment.
Absolutely. And
then what will be next? What's the next step for that? So they'll call and say, "Hey, listen, I heard Marinda and David talking about this, and I want to come check it out."
So they'll call and they'll say, "Hey, I heard this on the podcast." And if you say you heard it on the podcast, you'll get that first set of hormones for free. We're offering that special for Dave and this podcast.
That's awesome.
And they'll set up a consult. Every consult's free. So you can consult for any part of the office. You can consult for hormones. You can consult for weight loss. You can consult for med spa. They'll set up that consult and give you an appointment time. We try to get you in that same week. Most of the time we can do that. And then you come in and you meet with us.
So good point. And so what will they receive if they mention the podcast? They're
going to get their hormone, that first hormone lab panel for free.
Yeah.
Normally it's included in the package, but, a lot of people are going to hear about it and think, that could be me.
Yeah.
And so come in, get those labs checked. Like we said, there's so many symptoms that could be a lot of things. And why not just see if this is it?
So it's really a no risk guarantee, really.
Absolutely.
Come see you, get the lab work done, and see where it fits, and see what it looks like for each person that does that. Mm-hmm. They just got to make the time to come up and see you. And
that they do. You got to make the first step to feeling better.
You got to make the first step. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. All right. What else we need to cover?
I think we've got it all.
We've done pretty well. We've covered a lot.
I think so.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I'm glad you came in.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, it's been a good time. I can't, I'll say it one more time. I can't say it enough of how this has made us feel. And so if anyone is listening to this somewhere and thinking, I share that, then they really need to at least come see you, get that blood work done.
At least come talk about it.
At least come talk about it.
You can come talk about it, and you can say, never mind, I don't want it. Or I can say, I don't think you need it. But at least talk about it. Have the conversation.
At least have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been the biggest piece that we've experienced in sharing the story. And we belong to some Facebook groups, and we try to chime in, when and where appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It always feels like an educational piece is people don't know,
mm-hmm.
and then they don't know what to do or what to expect or any of those other things. And we're always like, you just need to go. You just need to go.
I think since I've been working at Ageless, I say it all the time. Someone will tell me all these things going wrong, and I'm like, come get your hormones checked.
Yeah.
Just let me fix it. Get these hormones checked.
Yeah.
And it does. It just makes a world of difference.
I mean, it was never talked about with me in any of my circles. I can't say it's not talked about anywhere because I don't know, but it's never been talked about in any of my circles. Any of this, whether you lump it into self-care or just fixing what needs to be fixed,
mm-hmm.
none of that was ever spoken about. And again, I didn't even show up for that. I showed up for something else, and
mm-hmm.
Julie routed me the right way, and here we are. So,
okay. And I'm glad she did, because I'm glad to see you all and our butt to butt appointment.
Our butt to butt appointments. We got more coming, more butt to butt coming. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of it. Okay. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.